Greetings and welcome back to Ask the Experts. This is our program where we take your question, put it out to our panel of experts across America, and come back to you with hopefully helpful information that will solve your problem. If you want to ask a question, simply go to our website, NACMBCS.org, and click on Ask an Expert up at the top of the page. You'll generally get a response back within 24 hours, and then we also take that same question and use it to build these video podcasts now. There's lots of great information that comes through these, so we're trying to share it with as many people as possible. I also want to thank United Transactions, UTA, for sponsoring this episode. They are good friends and partners and have been for nearly 25 years. If you have payment processing questions, ACH, check guarantee, credit cards, they can help you, and we're happy to introduce you, so just let us know. So our question this time around comes from Charles here in Seattle, and he's having a refunding question. He says, I am looking to establish a better policy surrounding our refunds to customers, and my main concern is making sure that refunds are sent in the proper legal name. So for instance, I was recently processing a refund for a customer account. The account name was in the name of a subsidiary, but the payments coming into the account were in the name of the holding company as the payor. When speaking with the customer, they are asking me to send the refund check to them in the name of the subsidiary as the payee. What is the best practice with refund checks? Should they always be made payable to the entity that is sending us payments, or is there a better protocol to follow? For this one, I turn to our expert, Heidi Lindgren-Boyce with Star Rentals based in Kent, Washington. She's been with the company for 30 years, and throughout all that time, she's been part of NACM. She served on our board twice, served as our board chair. She's involved with CFDD, is currently our representative to the National NACM Board and the CFDD National Board, and has a wealth of information. So we threw this question to her. Let's see what she has to say. So good afternoon, Heidi. Good to see you, and thanks for joining me. You've had the question from Charles. What do you think?
It's actually a really good question. We run into that all the time here at my company. And I know he was kind of looking for the legal part of it and the protocols. I do want to say I'm not an attorney.
And you don't play one on television?
I don't play one on television. However, I have been doing credit collections for over 30 years, so these things do come up, and then you create protocols around them. And so, what was kind of being asked is, in his original question, they had a subsidiary, and the holding company that owned that subsidiary, it would appear that the payment they received was from the subsidiary, but they were wanting it refunded back to their holding company. And I had kind of explained in my response that as long as your original credit app paperwork shows this ownership already on the books, where you knew that they were a holding company, maybe you even set up your account to say care of, recognizing that they're owned by another corporate entity. And as long as it's your client who overpaid, duplicate paid, whatever caused that, I feel it's legally fine to send it to their holding company as they requested, as long as all the parties involved agree to that. It's only if it's going to be a matter of dispute does that become an issue later on. And so, like at our company, we do, and I would say 9 out of 10 times, we refund like for like. If we got a check from our customer twice, we tend to refund that same customer to the same address that we have in the system. And that happens more than any other exceptions, but these exceptions do come up. We do occasionally get where a company pays by a credit card and then they pay us by check. We tend to go back to that customer. We would prefer to refund the credit card because those cause more disputes later down the road than check payments do as far as record keeping. However, we let the customer direct what direction they want to refund. And then, kind of getting back on the original, we run into additional issues where our customer's client ends up paying us, usually because our customer has turned in paperwork to them and they're like, okay, here's our pay application. We want to be reimbursed. Here are our copies of all our bills. And I've seen where that client misunderstands or intentionally, I think it can go both ways, will in turn write us a check direct at the same time that our customer wrote us a check. And so our protocol has been, we still go back to our customer. They're who we have on record. They're who signed our credit application, our rental contracts, and we let them know what happened, and we let them direct. Do they want us to refund their client, or do they want the refund back? Because typically, if the client paid, that client removes that charge from the pay application back to our customer. So our customer's out the money, in theory, twice. So in theory, they deserve to have their money returned back to them. And then another frequency thing that happens are general contractors and subcontractors. A lot of our customers are subs. The general contractor will get a notice of intent from us, and they're like, oh, we've got to pay Star Rentals direct. And they will issue a check to us at the same time. Our customer's also paying us. And again, we still go back to our customer. They're the ones that signed our credit agreement. They're the ones we have the relationship with. And we ask them what they want. Because if the general paid us, they definitely took that out of the pay app to our customer. So we just always like to make sure that everybody's on board with that. But most of the time, we're refunding back to our original customer.
Well, and for anyone who doesn't know Star Rentals, you've got operations all over the Pacific Northwest. Do you go beyond that? That's the only ones I know of.
No, it's really the Pacific Northwest, Washington, Oregon, and some Idaho business.
Yeah, okay.
We're pretty regional.
Yeah, so you're dealing with a lot of companies actually, and I'm guessing periodically you review all these policies and modify as necessary.
Correct. The good news is when you've been at one company for so long, the modify doesn't have to happen as often because the policies have just proven time and time again. But you did bring up a good point on the modify. ACH, electronic payments have also changed the nature and does often create duplicate payments. And those payments tend to come from the banks. They have these third-party software platforms. Right. Our customer goes on to their bill pay, pays, and then we get these EFTs or even credit cards, and even that'll duplicate. And then we always like the protocol, you go back to our customer because we know the money eventually came out of their accounting and not this third-party platform.
And those policies with ACH and credit cards and all that, they seem to be changing frequently, at least lately. And I know that fraud is part of that, but it's just a constantly changing world. So it's good to pay attention to them.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Absolutely. Well, your answer is similar to some of the other experts on the panel, but you were most succinct. So I thank you for that. And hopefully Charles gets a good answer out of this. So with that, Heidi, thank you so much. I appreciate your time, your wisdom. You've, as I noted in the introduction, you've been a board member here at least twice, and I think served as our chair for a period. And now you're on the national board and national board of CFDD, and we appreciate your service very much.
Thank you, John. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, and we'll see you next time.